You ain't ate nothing all day?
I had a bagel with tea this morning. That was it.
What you drinking?
Water.
You know you could lose a lot of weight fasting like that, brother.
It
But I
wasn't
was
inten- It wasn't intentional.
but I was gonna say if you don't eat, there's a multivitamin you could take something. I'm not saying I take because I take it, but it's a product that I take called Relive. Gives you all the nutrients as if you had a meal.
Really.
Yeah, I'll give you the link. You want to look into it. What's going on, Roundup homies? It is good to see everybody. Happy no, what is this? President's Day Eve.
Yep. President's Day weekend.
That's right.
The day to go shop. Go get your sales.
Well, what about your work? But man, maybe we'll bring you in tomorrow and offer a president sale on that or something.
Let me know. Yeah.
What
What
you
time you
doing?
want to do it?
What you doing tomorrow?
I'll be working on my desk tomorrow, so I could do it tomorrow.
All right, I like to check out everything. We're going to the movies and stuff.
All
So
right. You
what
let me know.
you didn't tell me what did you do last week, Dan? I think my wife wants to say hi. You want to say
Let me
hi?
say hello to the boss.
He said he want to say hi.
Let me
I,
do that.
I said I want to say hello to the boss. How are you?
Hi, Ted. How are you?
Not as good as you.
Yes.
Chris says he's got you living good. Is that true? Yeah.
Mm. I'll let him tell you.
I'm getting Chris in trouble. Couldn't help myself, Chris. Sorry.
You know, my wife says I do everything that she wants me to do.
You know what? My wife said to me, I forget the other day, she said to me, she told me to ask me to do something. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. So the next day she says, well, I asked you if you were going to do this yesterday, and you said you were. And I said, yeah, I told you I'll do it. So the third day comes by, and she's like, you said you're going to do it. I said, now she's mad, right? I said I was. I didn't tell you when I was going to do it, but I'm going to
That's the
do
problem. That's the
it.
problem. You can do that. You could do that shit next week. That's the problem with being married. Yeah, I do it. Like 5 days go by.
You know, I remember we were doing the kitchen. She had been asking me to do the kitchen, and I knew we needed a new kitchen. We've been here 25 years. Uh, and when I did the kitchen 25 years ago, I went on the cheap, and I didn't know what I know now, right? So she was telling me, every year you say you're going to do the kitchen, every year you haven't done it. And last year I counted you did 12 kitchens in your apartment, but you still haven't done our one.
Stop it.
So I was like, there's a reason for it because when I did those 12 kitchens, I didn't have to ask you about colors or tile or cabinetry style or which counter. I said, I just get it done.
Get
Right. I
it
said,
done.
so you go pick out what you want. I'll have it all delivered when it's in the garage. Then you do the kitchen
Oh
because I ain't going
Lord.
to start this job when you still undecided. No.
Yeah, that's rough, man. You know,
I
picking
want
out.
I want appliances. I want flooring. I want the moldings. I want the color paint you want. I want the cabinetry. I want everything, everything in the garage. So and I did that kitchen, no bullshit, beginning to end. And you know how tough it is to do a kitchen because you have electricians, you got plumbers, you got carpenters, you got sheetrockers, right? And you got to coordinate all that, right? So I did that kitchen in 11 days, man.
That ain't bad, man. Before you
Oh,
did the
that was
floor
awesome.
too?
Everything.
Man, that's
Knock
pretty
down
good then.
walls, put up new electric outlets, redesign the kit, everything in 11 days.
Yeah, that's
Because
pretty
I
good.
did it exactly how I said. I had everything on the job site.
You got granite in there too?
I didn't go with the granite because she didn't. I couldn't care less if we went with granite or quartz. Quartz has a really good reputation. I've been using it in my apartments. It seems to be durable.
You using
Um,
quartz as a step up from granite.
yeah, and we actually went and picked out the slab. We went to 3 different yards and we picked out the slab, and I had it delivered to the fabricator. And
Damn.
since it was there already and paid for, when the cabinets were in, the fabricator came in on Monday, did his template. On Tuesday, the counters were in.
Oh, that's sweet right there, man.
Yeah.
That's
So,
sweet.
but I want everyone here to know. I don't know if you do this, Chris, but I'll tell you what I do with my rentals. What I my in my rental apartments, they're not houses like what Chris buys. They're rentals in the city of New York or condos. So I'll put in new kitchen cabinets. but then I'll go to the fabricator. Fabricator, let's say he bought 2 slabs. He may have a half a slab left, but that slab was purchased by the previous owner. That's his scrap. It didn't cost him
Hmm.
anything. So
Yeah.
I'll go to the fabricator and I'll say, "Show me the colors you got
Remnants.
as remnants, right?
That's smart.
That'll fit." And I give him the plans that'll fit in this kitchen. So now, where it would have cost me 1,500, it's now only costing me maybe 700
Yeah,
because
leftover.
the fabricator now knows who I am because I've created a relationship. Plus, he wants to get rid of this remnants that's taking up room in his yard. He doesn't want to throw it out because he knows it still has a value. Um, and he doesn't have to order it; it's right there, and he's making money from a slab that somebody else paid for. So keep that in mind if you want when you're doing your kitchens. If they're not very big kitchens, you can probably get remnants to match the colors and give you a
Yep,
really good design.
that's right. Knowledge. He who understands creative financing over the next 5 years. You're right about that, man. If
I
you
think
under,
I think the creative financing part of this business, the opportunity is existing now,
oh
and they
my
got until
lord,
probably the end of 24. Because I suspect the interest rates will start to come back down at the end of 24.
you think interest rates are gonna come back down? My thing is, why would they come down, Dan?
Because it's all politics. Because the Democrats are going to have to say, look, say to the American people, look, I got inflation under control. And as a result of me getting inflation under control, I can now drop the interest rates and the economy's booming, right? That's because it's all politics. It has nothing to do with the right way to do business. Just like the same way, the reason we found ourselves in this ridiculous inflation rate is because we had the government not raising interest rates when they should have been raising interest rates at least a quarter of a point per year, right? And that wasn't just Trump. That was Obama, Trump, and then the first year of even Biden. Then the other problem was you had Trump printing money like a drunken sailor, devaluating the dollar. Now, listen, guys, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Democrat supporter. I think they're both full of crap. Neither one of those parties care about us. I'm just giving you facts. All right. So, as a result, and the reason they didn't want to raise interest rates because it looked bad upon them when they were going to try to get reelected. So
Yeah,
again,
that's true.
this is why I truly believe at the end of 24, we probably will see um we probably will see a reduction again in interest rates. Again, it's not because it's good for the economy, it's about what's good for them to get reelected. It's all about, promoting themselves.
I try to stay away from talking about politics in general, and I just want to make sure I understand. When I started this business, my interest rates was 7, 8, 9%. Inflation, what there was no talk about inflation at that time. This is 03, 04 maybe. But even when they say they get it under control, does that mean that their prices are going down, or does it mean prices leveled off? Because it's still here.
It's still here, but I don't think it is starting to come down, but not as fast as it should have. And the reality is, this is an economy that we're not accustomed to. So even though we have these high inflation rates, and even though the interest rates have been going up, in my opinion, they're still very low. Um, we just it was just recorded last week or 2 weeks ago, I think. We have the lowest unemployment rate in the last 50 years.
Yeah, but Dan, in my opinion, that's skewed though. We're talking about people. We're not talking about underemployment here. We're talking about unemployment. And I mean, no one talks about underemployment. How many people are working that actually can't even pay their bills?
That's a good.
I was talking
That's
to
a
my
good
wife the other day
question, but
about that. Like some people don't. Why would I go to work with my daycare bills $1,500 a month? I mean, it's like so many underemployed people.
so that's a good question, Chris. The other, but the opposite side of that coin is it just came out too about 2 weeks ago that the retailers are having bonanza year this year in the last 6 months because people are spending money like crazy.
They're
even
still
though we have
spending.
a high inflation rate. So
Yeah.
there's no rhyme or reason to what's going on right now. But then I just had a conversation with someone today. They're telling me they work in a specific area around Orlando, but they have to drive an hour away to afford where they live because they can't afford to live where they work.
But don't forget, Orlando is pretty daggone cheap to live, though.
Well, it's not that cheap anymore. So, and I'll give you an example. Condos that I was buying at $18,000 to $30,000 are selling now at $190,000 for a one bedroom door.
Good Lord.
Right. So when I started buying those at those prices, it was like 2010, 2011.
Wow.
So it's 9 years later, let's say, right?
Wow.
Actually, well, more than that.
10
It's
years.
9 and 3. Yeah, it's like 11 years later. But that's more than doubled.
That's more
That's
than
more than
double. Yeah, that's like
doubled.
quadruple. But let's stay here for a minute, Dan, because that's been my little strategy. I've been talking to my business partner about that lately. We're gonna start buying. I keep hearing that stupid thing that you say, the donut effect. Like we're gonna start buying like where I live, the metro area is like Virginia Beach right here. Then you got these little counties right outside. And let me ask you, Dan, from my perspective, people are willing to live out there and drive to work here and then drive back home for lower rents. Is that do you believe that?
Well, I don't. I think it's two reasons. They're going to get more space for
More
less
space.
rent. Either that, or or if they're buying a house, they're going to get more square footage for less money per square foot, right? But what's the problem with that? People get tired of that shit, bro. Driving in traffic 5 days a week.
Well, we don't necessarily handyman. We got you, dog. Give me a minute, man.
Yeah,
Good
someone
gracious.
handyman's asking if we answer questions. Just put your question up here. We'll
He
answer it.
did. He had a question. Give me a second. We'll get to it. Yeah, we will, brother. But I don't know, Dan. You think people get tired of saving money? And we're not
People
talking
get
about
tired. I think quality of life becomes an issue, right? So I don't
we're
know.
not
Do they
talking
have
about we're not talking about traffic like where you're at. Around here, traffic is you can't even call that traffic.
man, let me tell you something. If I don't I have to go to a building, one of my buildings on Tuesday morning. Actually, I'm gonna go tomorrow to look at some other jobs I have going on. But I only have to travel less than 12 miles, right? If I don't leave my house by 5:45 in the morning, that 12 miles is an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half.
Why don't you catch a train?
Problem is, I can't because I got to pick up material. If I get to the job, right, let's say, and my contractor says, well, you know, I'll finish that tomorrow because I still need to get this material. I'm like, no, you're going to finish that shit today.
Right
Tell me what you
now.
need. I'm going to go get it,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So I need to take my work van. I call her Betsy, right? Now, Betsy's a 2004 Ford van. It's a rust bucket,
Multi-millionaire driving in the 2004.
but that van makes me shitloads of money.
You're worse than me. Now, you hear that, Princess? I hope that thing doesn't break down.
Oh, it broke down. I did a video on it, bro. If you go to my Instagram channel, you're gonna see it being towed up on the tow truck.
When
Yo,
was this, yo?
well, 2 times this year left me broke down, right?
In January 2023?
No, one time. No, it was last year. I'm sorry. It was no, actually, once it was January, and then the other time was in the summertime of last year. But check this out. This is the bad one. The van. I'm on the BQE. For those of you in New York City, you
Oh
know what the
Lord.
BQE is. And I'm coming east. I'm coming
Is
east.
there a pull off on that thing?
No, man.
There's
When
no
I
pull
got
off on that,
stuck,
is it?
bro, it was 7 o'clock in the morning on the left lane, and the van just died. Right. So now I'm from New York. I thought I heard every single curse word you could possibly think
Oh, the
of.
people driving by?
Yo, especially the truck drivers. Holy
Was you
shit.
on the bridge?
No, I was on the left lane on the BQE.
I mean, on the bridge part? The
No, no,
BQE
no,
has
not the bridge
bridges.
part, before the bridge part.
Okay.
Right. So, yo, I'm calling 911. I'm like, yo, if you don't come
No.
and get me off this highway, somebody's gonna kill me. Yo, the shit they were
Yeah, they
talking
called
to, yo, they were saying
911.
to me, I was like, damn, I wish I had my gun with me. Like they wanted to kill me, kill me. Like the words they were using, I was like, I never heard that curse word before, right? So the cop pulls up, right? And he says to me, yo, you got this backed up for 12 miles to the Verrazano Bridge. I said to him, listen, it was I came that way at 6 a.m. It was backed up before I got it. I just happened to make it
Oh, okay.
worse. So he's laughing. He goes, yeah, we got to get you off here. That somebody's going to kill you. So he actually pushed me off with his cop car to the next exit. And then I ended up waiting for the tow truck. It was a horrible day. But man, that's the first
Wow.
time that van ever left me stranded. And I got my wife says to me, all right, so does that mean you're gonna get a new truck now? And I was like, why would I get a new truck? She's fine. Just cost me $600 to fix it. She's good for another year or two.
You better be glad you didn't break. I thought you was right on the Verrazano Bridge area.
No.
You'd have been real trouble, yo.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible.
So where to
So
buy a
there's some
fixer man?
questions here. Let's
Yeah.
answer some questions. Where is a good area to buy fixer-uppers? When you find out, let me know.
Yeah, anywhere that you're familiar with. I don't want you buying anything where you don't know what you're doing, handyman, because boy, buying where you don't know the comps, market time, whether the population is growing, sinking, what jobs are coming, what industries are leaving. You gotta know all this stuff, man.
Look, the reality is this. It doesn't matter where you go. If you buy it
Mhm.
wrong, you're
You're
not
done.
making money.
Yeah, you're
You
done.
make your money the day you buy it. Meaning, if you don't buy it right, no matter how much you try to cut on renovation costs or doing it yourself, you're behind the eight ball.
Well,
If you buy the property at the right number, right?
not only that, you gotta have what type of money are you using? Are you using hard money, private money, your money, bank money? The cost of the money I learned over the years of doing business is a huge part of doing fix and flips. You can buy. I would much rather see people think locations are most important. In my opinion, financing. If you can buy a house and you have no payments on money, you can buy anywhere, right? But if you
Right.
buy it and you got a 15% loan with 5 points and you 6 month loan, and at the end of that 6 months you got extension fees and penalties, you got a big difference.
Yeah, you need to understand what your real costs are, not only on your renovation costs, because just by your name, I'm assuming you intend on doing the work yourself.
No doubt.
But you also have to calculate what it's going to cost you, right? In the sense of opportunity cost. As so, if you intend to do the work yourself because you have that skill set, but while you're working on that property, you could have been out working on someone else's property, making $250 a day, for instance, and you're in that, let's say 300 a day, and you're on that property 5 days a week. You got to
Losing that.
count that property's costing you $1,500 per week
Mhm.
that you would have earned yourself if you were out there working, doing work for someone else. So
No
you got to
doubt.
include that cost because that's called the opportunity cost.
No
So when
doubt.
you figure everything out and you say, man, I could make $30,000, but your labor, if you had not put your labor into it and went work somewhere else, you would have made 30. All you did was buy yourself a job. You didn't buy yourself a profitable flip.
Yeah. That's why it's always good to have more than one. When you do real estate, I know people that just do fix and flips, man, they're doing a ton of these joints. TT.
Yeah. I made
You ready to go to
I'm
bed?
mad, bitter, laugh out loud. My pops
Go get Morgan. Go
owned
get
eight
Morgan.
eight family apartment building in Brooklyn. He disowned me because I went into the Navy.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Listen, try to work it out with your father.
Yeah,
I'm
try to
sure it was
work it
bigger
out.
problems than that because you went into the Navy.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
but try to work it out. You only have one dad, and he
So
only has you as you know. Even if he has other sons,
you're the
you're
handyman.
his only son. That's you, right? It's like it's funny. I tell my sons, I have two sons, and I'll I have two daughters, and I'd always call them. I said, I would say to them, you're my only youngest daughter, or you're my only oldest daughter, or you're
Yeah,
my
there you
only
go.
oldest son, or you're
Make them
my
feel
only
special.
youngest son. I can't have another younger son. I can't have another oldest son or another
Hmm.
older daughter. There's only one of them, right?
So We had another eviction, Dan. I was sitting at the house waiting for the sheriff to get there.
Yeah, you had a lot of evictions this week, then, huh?
It's just that time of the year, man. I was helping a friend out on this one. He asked me to because I like to consulting for other people that they don't really know the whole thing. But check this out, man. We were sitting there. I did a whole video on it. We were sitting there in the street waiting for the sheriff. He's telling me the story. Did you know these fools filed from the pill the same day as the eviction? Did you know you could do that?
Yeah, of course. That's happened to me, and it stops the eviction here. I don't know about that. Yo, I'll give you one better. Check this shit out. I did an eviction once, and while I'm in there, bringing the stuff to the basement, because in New York City, you got to store their shit for 30 days. So I
Yeah, that's
put it in the basement.
BS.
I
That's
know.
some bull.
Do you know she shows up with a court order that I got to let her back in? Because her argument was that her son was sick.
Yeah, that's what they do.
So I'm like, yeah, I ain't letting you in. So she calls the cops. Cops say,
Yeah,
you got to let her in.
she right.
So I called my attorney. My attorney says, fax it over to me. There was a place downstairs I was able to fax it. This is when faxes were still in common. And he says, yeah, you got to let him in. So now what I did was, after that, listen to this. This is how I figured that out. As soon as the marshal leaves, I have the plumber take out the toilet. I don't even have the plumber take out the toilet. I take it out. And I put the toilet in the basement. So sure enough, on my fourth or fifth eviction, same thing happened to me again. Now they come and they say I gotta let them in. I said, no, the apartment's inhabitable. No toilet. So she said, yeah, you gotta let me in. I said, no, you gotta call the cops. So now the cops come in, and I said, look, according to the law, and I give them the code, if the apartment's inhabitable, I can't let them in. It's not what I want to do, and not what you want to do. It's what the law says. So he tells her, you got to go back to housing court. So now she goes to housing court, and I go with him. Right? Go in front of the judge and
How
says, here's
long
the
was this
picture.
the next day?
No, man. As soon as the marshal let me in,
I'm talking
and the
about
marshal took
when
the
you go back.
inventory. The
When you go
marshal
back to,
takes inventory of all the stuff in there. As soon as the marshal walked out the door, 5 minutes later, I took out the toilet. So that's what I do for every eviction now. As soon as the marshal leaves, I take out the toilet. Now it's not habitable. No
so
longer
when you
habitable.
how long did it take for y'all to go back to court?
Right there, you go back immediately because her argument is you got to let me in. I'm like, I can't let you in. It's inhabitable. Go back. Let's go back to court. And then the judge says, "Are toilets out?" Yeah. Well, I order you to put the toilet in. Well, according to the plumber, he can't get there until next week. Or judge, the woman owes me $15,000. If she paid me the $15,000, I could afford the plumber to come. I'll pay emergency fees. You know.
This is crazy,
You got to
Dan.
play the game.
When I was in court the other day, do you know that they get an automatic continuance if they say they have COVID?
It doesn't surprise me.
Automatic. The guy in
But
front of me, right? He goes, Your Honor, I haven't collected rent since October 2021. Can you please help me? She goes, they said they had COVID. Last time their kids had COVID.
do they have to prove it?
Nope.
Listen, I tell people when I hear other Eric Bellamy says, noted, toilet
Toilet
must
must
go. Listen, guys, I got to tell you the truth. I
Dad
can't
get
take
your ass in
credit for that.
trouble.
I can't
Huh?
take credit for that. The person who told me to do that was the first attorney I ever had who did my evictions, and he was a great attorney until he retired. His name was Richard Pilson.
Uh-huh.
He's a short, little, skinny white guy. And
Take the toilet out. That's good.
yeah, and he said to me, listen, next time, as soon as the marshal leaves, you take the toilet out. That way, if it happens again. Now, that's only happened to me 2 more times, out of all the evictions I've done. But both times, it saved me, right, for not having a toilet.
All right, man. Let me get out of here, man. Let's sleep.
We just dropped some serious
That's
nuggets
some good
tonight.
nuggets. Make sure you hit the
This is
follow for
how it
Dan.
is in New York with those professional tenants. You have to be a grimer.
Grimier.
Grimia. Is it
Grimy.
wrong to advert? Is it wrong to adverse process a place owned
Possess.
by the possess?
He's
Not sure
talking
what they're
about
asking.
they're talking about to go after a property just because you're the tenant.
You know what? I have somebody that's done it. It took her about 15 years.
Yeah, I say, man, just try to buy it if you can.
Yeah, but the owners disappeared. No, she couldn't find the owners.
Really?
So yeah, so in her case, it was a legit. She was actually paying the taxes every year. She was actually fencing it. She was maintaining it, making the repairs. She was doing everything.
That's pretty
Um,
good.
but it took her about 15 years. Adverse possession, yes.
I guess you
All
could
right.
do it, man. All
Yeah.
right.
Take care, everyone.
Peace.
Take care.